On the bus ride to prison, I sat by an elderly man named Willie. Now, Willie was there for drug-related charges, but after spending about a year in the county jail, it seemed his true self had returned. And that true self was the epitome of wholesome. As I said, he was an older guy, short, a little chubby, glasses. He always had a relaxed grin on his face. You know, the kind of inmate who always tucks his shirt in, even when you don't have to, just to be sure he wasn't breaking any rules. Now, I had a lot on my mind as we rode to prison. The main thing being, what was my life going to be like for the next decade? But Willie only had one thing on his. Pepsi. He nudged me a little and said,
"Boy, I can't wait to get my hands on an ice-cold Pepsi when we get there."
I nodded a little bit and said, "Yeah. Wonder what the yard's gonna be like, though," with worry still in my voice. But happy-go-lucky Willie just said,
"Well, I don't know, but as long as they sell ice-cold Pepsi, I don't care."
Unfortunately for Willie, we had arrived to the prison yard just as the canteen was closed for the next 2 weeks due to annual canteen inventory. The Pepsis would have to wait, but that didn't stop old Willie from mentioning them every chance he got. "Hey, Willie, how's your first day on the yard going?"
It was okay. Not as good as the first day I get my hands on an ice-cold Pepsi will be.
"Hey, Willie, I heard the prison staff put you on that new electrician job. Do you like it?"
Yeah, I like it, but it just gets so dang hot out there. Sure would be nice to come home to an ice-cold Pepsi every day.
"I know, Willie, I know. I mean, we heard it so much it became an inside joke around the prison. Daily.
Pepsi, Pepsi, ice-cold Pepsi."
This went on until one afternoon I realized I hadn't seen Willie all day. That was weird. So I asked a buddy of mine, "Hey, where's Willie?" And that's when I learned something awful had happened to Willie. See, his electrician job required him to be transferred around to many prisons within the state to work on the electric fences there. Sometimes that meant he had to be pretty high up. Today, he had accidentally touched an electric fence while the current was still running through it and took a whopping amount of volts, and he almost fell. Willie could have died. So, I dropped everything and ran to go check on him. I mean, I couldn't imagine how upset he probably was. As I ran down the hallway and turned onto his cell block, I was amazed at what I saw. It was Willie, sitting on his bunk with a bright blue Pepsi in hand, glistening in the sun from the condensation on the can. His eyes were closed as he took a long sip and lowered the can. Turns out, someone with a lot of food already stored up also heard what happened to Willie, and they stopped by his cell to give him some snacks and a whole 12-pack of Pepsi. In that moment, though I had been having a hard week too, trying to adjust to my new life, not knowing how I'd ever get through it, here was a guy who had had a much worse week than me, and all he needed in that moment was an ice-cold Pepsi to be content. I realized maybe this place wouldn't be all bad if I started appreciating the little things. He raised an extra can up in gesture to take it and join him. So I did, and I took a sip. It was good and cold. Ice cold.